What's up, people of the world? It's your girl, Lala.
And your boy, Siobhan.
And you are listening to
Talk That Shit.
With the Melons.
A slumber party edition, because we both got our slumber
Pajama jams.
PJams.
Pajama jams.
P-
Pajama jams.
PJs on.
Pajama jams.
Crazy. So, what's up with you?
Hola.
Well, oh. So, Lala Melvin is learning Spanish.
Hi, Espanol.
Espanol. So, she does, tell the people what you do.
What do you mean?
Like your exercises, what you be doing.
Oh, I'm just on Babbel. And so they give you...
We need that sponsorship right now. Boom.
I'm on Babbel. They give you...
I look real uncomfortable.
They give you... Like you have lessons. And then within the lessons, it'll give you the Spanish translation. But then underneath it is the English translation. And from there... I mean, it's like you're kind of like... It just depends. It gives you like multiple choice situations. It gives you fill in the blanks. It gives you flashcards where like it'll show you a picture of what the phrase is, and you have to translate it into the Spanish translation of what's happening in the picture. And then like you tap it and it tells you if you're correct or not.
Would you say that you're learning a lot?
Yes, because, well, here's what happened. I started and I wasn't taking notes. That was the first mistake. And then I very, very quickly realized that I needed to take notes. And so I've been taking notes. And from there, now when I do like the flashcards, I'm remembering these phrases and translations and things like that. So it's actually really fun.
It's dope.
I enjoy it.
You enjoy it?
I thoroughly enjoy it.
So after you learn Spanish, because you will learn it by, I would say like...
I have it's for, my timeline is 6 to 12 months.
Damn.
Because my goal is to be fluent. It's not just to be like, oh yeah, I know this word and that word. I want to be fluent. I want to be able to hold conversations with, you know.
What can you say? What's up, people of the world? In
no,
Spanish?
I don't know that just yet.
Oh.
I know what's up is ¿qué tal?
Oh shit.
Get that?
So we gonna do. First of all, why when somebody's speaking a different language, they always gotta be real dramatic about it? Get that?
I was joking when I did that.
But even when people like if they're saying like let's say like Mandarin, they always move real like fast. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll cut that out. If you guys I never cut nothing out, just to be honest with you. I say I'm gonna cut it out, and then I don't cut it out.
Okay.
Unless it makes us sound real like we're about to get sued or something. I cut that shit right on now.
I don't know if we've ever sounded like we were gonna get sued, but
I know. That's why I don't cut nothing out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, cool. So this week you have the topic.
Yes.
What is? Okay, go ahead.
What?
Nothing else gonna say.
What?
What's the last thing we talked about?
What mark? What impression or what mark would you like to leave on the world? You know, like once you go, and then we talked about how we think people would react, and then how we know people would react.
Yeah. And
then
that's the one where I was like, I don't agree with half the shit you were saying.
Yeah.
I get it.
So today, we've kind of been experiencing what I would like to politely call a high volume of hate. That's the best way I could put it.
Please elaborate. Damn, really?
Yeah, from some of the people or a couple or a few of the people closest to us have been exhibiting very envious behavior, very jealous behavior, very to themselves ungrateful behavior.
Yeah.
And what I mean by to themselves, ungrateful behavior, meaning taking for granted the life that they have, so concerned about what we don't or what we do have. And so yeah, it's been very interesting how things come full circle
Mm-hmm.
and how much closer I feel like it's brought us even.
Right.
I mean,
First time hearing this.
we're always, I mean, we've always been extremely close to one another.
Right.
Even, when things weren't the best between us, but as of recently, I feel that finally the way things have been handled um allow me to kind of keep chiseling away at that wall.
Right.
We talked about that a few weeks ago on
Right.
here
Right. Right.
about me, and being super vulnerable with you and, all the things. And so, um, in thinking over the past few weeks or whatever, um, I was kind of wondering, not necessarily wondering, but I kind of just thought to myself, like, to have full support in all aspects from your significant other, um it's a blessing in and of itself, right? Like on its own, being able to say and feel and know and believe that your partner is
100%. Yeah.
completely and 110 million% uh on your side.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different ball game. Um, and so my question is, or what I wanted to talk about, more so again, another question for you guys. Um, how important is it to you to have your partner's complete, undivided support?
Ooh.
And to what extent would you go to have that kind of support?
Ooh. Whoa, that's low key like a two-part question because one,
Ring a ling, ding
yeah,
a ling,
ring ling 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 ling. One is crazy because I will say that from my experience, I've been on both sides of the course with this, where I really didn't understand what it meant to not. I'm not saying I'm saying from me to think that you're giving 100% on you supporting your other half,
Mm-hmm.
and them telling you like, no, fuck you not. You only giving like 22%. You like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm giving 100%. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, your 100% is not exactly what that 100% is. You're not providing me all the stuff that I need in order to be my partner.
Right.
And now in the place that I'm at right now, it's like, nah, we cut that in the butt, nip it in the butt,
Cut it in the butt.
cut it in the butt, nip it in the butt. Don't do this. Like we ain't having that, and just being in it 100%. I think it's very important
Mm-hmm.
because in order for you to have, I would say, a successful relationship or just any type of success, you have to be on the same page, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to have the same type of respect for that person that
Mm-hmm.
person is giving to you.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute that you guys aren't on the same, Jesus, the The minute that you don't have that respect, things start to drift away, or things start to go in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think it's very important, and it's crazy though because we've been talking about this the last, I would say,
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks.
3 weeks heavy.
I mean, it's been
more.
Yeah.
But I feel like the core craziness of the conversations have been happening in the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like you won't know, or you don't understand how much you guys are in sync until those conversations pop up and you be like, well, damn, you know what I mean? Like, that's actually how you feel. And that's, you said that, and you don't feel a certain type of way about saying that to somebody or someone about your significant other. And I feel like you're not gonna, everybody's not gonna understand that.
Right.
Everybody's not gonna understand how in tune and how locked with one another that you have to be to it's scam likelies, man. It's that 1 o'clock time. They be like, let's go, let's get it.
Everybody just got back from lunch.
We gotta call them. But yeah, it's not weird, but it's like you don't know how much that actually makes your life better when you are on the same page or in the same room or walking the same type of way.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't I knew I was like I knew, and I've always known what I represent, like, as a person, who I am, right?
Right.
And I've always stood on what I believe in,
Right.
because I believe that that is the only way to be completely true to yourself. And so for me, having someone in my life, my husband, um, that I'm not going to say didn't have the same belief system, maybe went about the same things in a different way than I would.
Right.
Um, it definitely caused a little.
Riff.
I'm not gonna say conflict or just like
no,
tension.
it's a riff. It's a little tension.
Yeah,
because
like-
you don't know how to. I just cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
You don't know how that like okay, we're talking about us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Our platform.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we do.
Yes. Ouch.
For so many years, what it meant to me is to always keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that keeping the peace doesn't always keep the peace.
Right.
Because you keeping the peace for the wrong people actually creates rift for the right person.
Right.
And I've always been a why do we, why we all can't sing along?
Yeah, he doesn't like
I don't
I'm
like.
not gonna say he doesn't like confrontation, but if he can avoid it, he will.
I will. And then if there's a way of being like everybody can be in the same room without the confrontation, then I want that.
And I'm actually the complete opposite. I
Right.
prefer to confront every situation head on.
Well, the crazy thing is I'm not like that no more.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I still don't like confrontation, there's still going to be confrontation because I'm choosing to not have confrontation, but I'm having confrontation with with the person that it should never be confrontation with. So for a lot, I always was like downplay everything.
Right.
Like, yo, it's not that serious. Or this person's going to be that person. Or we shouldn't feel this certain way, this type of way, because you never know what's going to happen. But now, shit, I'm almost about to be 40 years old. I've been doing it for such a long time. And just to see that the person that's going to be there at the end of the day look at you and be like, you ain't got my back, or you don't have my back.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I've always had your back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like something's got to give. Yeah, I just saw it.
That-
Yeah, isn't that? So
It's a case of, as a woman, feeling safe and protected by your husband, and then as a man, I would assume maybe feeling respected
right,
from your wife, like,
right.
you know. And so yeah, it caused tension for sure in our relationship, up until like recently. And I'm not saying like tension um necessarily between us,
Right.
but tension,
About things.
yeah,
About things.
in certain areas. It's so like heavy, um like it's just it was so like disagreed upon
Mm-hmm.
to the point where it caused us to, I don't know. I don't, it didn't cause us to like feel any way towards one another, but it was definitely
Not filled, but it's still a back of the head thing. Like, yo,
right
that's
to
a
have
problem.
to maybe to have a thought process of one
Right.
another.
Because it's like if you can't defend me to this person, then who else can't you defend me for?
Or won't you
Or
defend me?
won't you?
Because
Yeah.
that's really more so what it was. Is not that you can't, but you choose not to.
Right.
And I've always felt like, as wife and mother of your children,
There's a level of respect.
there has to be, for all parties outside of our household, whether it's our parents or our siblings or cousins or even grandparents, like outside of our household, outside of me and him, there has to be a level of respect upheld when it comes to the both of us. What
Right.
I mean by that is, if as your wife I say to you, yo, your mom told me, or your mom came in and tried to tell the boys how they supposed to clean their rooms, or how they're supposed to do their chores, or this is how this is supposed to be done, although I've already taught and raised mine to do so. I expect you as my husband to put her in her place,
Right.
because you do not go into your son's wife's home trying to dictate. This is not your home, that's not your place.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not his wife. You're not the woman. You know what I mean? Like, you're stepping over boundaries and lines that you have no business stepping over.
Right.
And as my husband, I shouldn't have to come to you and say, "Hey, you going to get your mom?"
Right. Or you gonna get your dad? Or
Yeah,
why
it
your
should
mama
be
tripping? Or why?
right. It
Yo,
should
tell your
be
sister to chill
automatic.
the hell out. Like, why you? What you call?
Exactly. It
Right.
should be automatic. Like, you should want to, now, unless you just didn't see it,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? That's totally different. Like,
But that's
when you was at work, your mom or
yeah,
your dad was like,
yeah.
and I'm like, yo, like,
Handle
handle
that.
that.
Right.
Because that's crazy to me. I expect you to do so, as I would think that you would expect me to do so also.
But it's you and we've had this conversation multiple times about just life, right? And we talk about how elders or people that are older than us feel as though that they're more superior than us,
Right.
or that they know better because
They got a few years on us.
right. And it's
Right.
like you can never possibly, everybody's situation is different, right?
Yes.
Everybody raises their kids, everybody goes through this world different.
Yes.
And even every 10 years, it's a different set of kids.
Right.
Because I'm totally different than how our kids are.
Right.
Your parents and my parents' parent is totally different than who we are
Right.
as a
Generations are always going to be different.
right.
Yes.
So it's like I never understood that of, well, I know this or I've done this before, and it's like you've done it your way, but you haven't done it my way in a society that's different than the way you done
But I
stuff.
also think deeper to that fact of like, well, this is how I did it and this is what I know. I'm 62 years old and it's like that's great that that worked for you in the way that it worked for you. So if I decided, okay, great, I'm going to take my mom or my grandma's advice or whatever the case may be and it don't work for me, then what can you tell me after that?
Hmm.
You know, you telling me, oh, well, I'm this age and I've experienced so much in life because I'm this age, it makes you look like a fool when what you experience don't work out for me.
Right.
So when I come back to you and I say, well, it didn't work, what do you say after that? Do you apologize to me because you wrote me off or because you low key tried to down me in a way of like, I know better than you, I'm smarter than you, I've done this and I've done like, do you be like, well, damn, I apologize. I really thought, you know what I mean? Because then that's the on the back end, that's the excuse of every parent is like, oh, I had the best intentions and I only want good for you, but you at the end of the day never stopped to actually think what was good for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you only thought about what you did and how you did it and when you did it, but you never stopped to actually be like, okay, but wait, whole new timeline,
Hmm.
whole different generation. You are nothing like me, you know, and so it makes you really be like,
But that's oh
no, go ahead.
no, but I think that that's the whole problem with everything and everybody, that
Mm-hmm.
they just don't understand that we aren't the same
Right,
and that we see things differently.
right,
And whatever makes you mad may not make me mad.
right,
And whatever doesn't make you mad may make me mad.
right.
And whatever things that you think is more important to you isn't as important to me.
And that's where when it comes to having a significant, because I'm not speaking in terms of girlfriend boyfriend unless you are that couple that believes in being together and you do not have to be married. You treat that person as though they are your wife or your husband. You just
Right.
prefer not to go through with all the extra theatrics of it all.
Right.
But that's where,
The business plan.
yeah, that's where the support comes in at, because you may not feel as if it's as important as I do.
Right.
But as my partner, as my husband or my wife or whatever the case is, if I'm coming to you and I'm telling you that it made me feel some type of way, you should support that,
Right.
you know, on whatever side you're on. And you should do whatever is necessary so your partner knows that you do support whatever it is that they are experiencing in that moment or in that time. Because if you don't, then it reflects back to you as a person.
Right.
You know, to me it's selfish. But then it also just it just shows where the levels of respect are for the other person.
Yeah.
You
What
know what I'm saying?
what's crazy is, and I've told you this multiple times, like me growing up, only child, not wanting kids, not wanting like a family, wanting to be like a in this type of profession and stuff. I truly had 100% selfish ways.
Yeah.
And even with growing up and even with growing up and having children, I still suffered from having selfish ways because
Sorry.
having no having the I just was doing it too. Like having the I want things this certain way because of my feelings on something. Like we can go back to me saying that I never wanted like confrontation, right?
Right.
But that's still a selfish act for me, because just because I don't want confrontation doesn't mean that we can't suss it out a different way.
Right.
You know, so for me it's kind of like you won't fully understand what it means to be mature enough to be like me putting my foot down and me making a foundation of how I want things in my family to actually go forward to that. It's not confrontation. It's
Right.
just you setting an actual goal in a realm of how you do certain
And
things.
boundaries
Right.
to people, because a lot of times people fail at understanding their place
Hmm.
in someone else's life.
Right.
You know, I just think that if everybody was more concerned with what is currently happening in their life
Right.
and what they have going on or don't have going on, you don't have room to be worried about someone else's anything,
Right.
whether it's their relationship, their finances, their children, their sex lives. Why you be worried about that, I don't know.
Right.
But get yourself some business to be worried about, and then you won't have to be so wrapped up in other people's business.
Right. You know it's something that's been not has been on my mind, but it's something that my mom said to me. She always says it, right? She be like, wait till you have well, this, she's always said this. Wait till you have kids to understand
All parents say that.
what I mean. And I think that I know for a fact that I'm a type of person that you won't that certain things like that won't affect me. I still understand what it means to be young. And those are certain things that people forget when they get older. When you're like at a point where you're like, oh, okay, cool, I'm 30 some years old.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot how it is to be a kid. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because I understand, and I feel like that's a communication thing when you are growing up with your kids. Like, I'm not gonna feel no type of way when I call my sons and none of them pick up, because I know that shit, they might be busy. You know what I
But
mean? Right.
even if they aren't, those are things that people like. No one is obligated to answer your phone calls.
Right.
No one is, whether it's your child or your mother or your brother, no one is obligated to answer a phone call,
Right.
a text message, a
Right.
visitor. Like, you
Right.
could be knocking at my door. I have every right, regardless of who you are, to leave you outside.
Right. Right.
You know, and it's funny because um I have always told Miss Jenny, I've always told my family, my siblings, my parents, aunties, everybody know, do not ever pop up at my house.
Right.
You will be sitting outside.
Right.
And it's not because I'm trying to be mean. It's not because I don't want to see you. It's not because I don't like you. It's very simply because this is my space,
Right.
my home, where my peace lies. Do not invade my space, because I was going to say something else. Do
Mhm.
not invade my space and then think that I am obligated to do what you want me to do
Right.
because you want me to do it.
Right.
That's not how this goes.
You know what else is crazy though? Growing up and being like, you always want to be around people. Just be like, let's say me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was the only child. So at a point in my life where I was like, you go outside, you go play basketball, you always at somebody's house, or you always at a cousin house, or you always doing something with somebody. You get to that point where you like, damn, I just want to be by myself.
Well, I mean, I grew up
I
with
know, but I'm just saying,
6 brothers and sisters,
right. So
so
you always felt like that, but it's like that's the type of person that some people grow up to be and be like, yo, I'm shit.
yeah,
I
some
don't
people,
always want to have to be out there functioning. I don't always have to want to
right.
be entertaining. I don't want to always
Or
like
just have people, just like your presence is a lot. A lot of people don't understand these things. Like, your presence as an individual is still an entity that I may and or may not want to be bothered with.
Right.
Not necessarily because you've done anything, simply because energy, you're just there. Like, just sometimes having another person or people there, it's annoying.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that fact. Like, people aren't just physical. They're not just something that we touch. People are literally energy. And if you do not put yourself in a position where you understand that sometimes that energy is too much,
Right.
you will, I personally feel like you'll always be so caught up in everything and everybody else because you're always surrounded by everything and everybody else.
You know, it's crazy though. Being surrounded that 86% of you guys aren't subscribed to our page. It's a good segue.
Wow.
So I need for y'all to actually subscribe and like this, because you guys are just watching without seeing the live drops. So I'm gonna need for y'all to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I had a little thing go ding ding right here, like ding ding,
Okay.
pop up. But yeah, I think it's crazy that people don't understand that what you just said. People don't understand that there is an energy level up there. People don't understand. Like, I try to explain to so many people that I be around people all fucking day. I be around tons of people, unnecessary people, screaming people, people with attitudes, people with funky smells, people with people that smoke, people that do all these other things. When I hop in the car and drive home, I know that I'm going to my domain where I don't have to be around anybody but my family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So some people don't just understand that. You
Right.
know, they don't understand that the happiness of just being in your own space, or being in a place where it's don't be looking at me like that, or being in a space where you're just comfortable. Like, comfortability is everything.
Absolutely. But could you imagine not having a partner who completely supports that?
Talking about me?
No.
Oh,
I'm just speaking
oh,
in a
yeah.
general sense, because that's what it all boils back down to. Like,
Right.
this is how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that if you feel differently, we can never talk about how you feel, but we have to both support each other in that
Right.
in how we feel.
Right. But
you like to have people over, but I prefer not to. So there has to be.
There will never be a common ground, because
it's not ever going to be a common ground or a compromise, because in those things people lose. So how do you do it? You balance it out.
Right.
Because to me, a balancing is not a compromise. Compromise means one way or the other, and that's it.
But somebody's going to always call you, somebody's going to always say something to you because you're not like them. Like, you're not like you're not like us.
But that's why I'm saying, like, when you don't have a partner that supports that is the conflict.
Oh, okay.
But when you
cool,
have
cool.
somebody that supports it and you guys are able to balance it out, I understand where you're coming from. I get it. Okay. We don't always have to have people over.
Right.
Every weekend is out. We're
Right.
not doing that.
Right.
Maybe twice out the month, we have something. Or we're entertaining, or there's people here. And then them other 2 weekends, it's just us.
It's just us.
You know what I'm saying? That's balancing. Like, we not always doing it this way or always this way. It's like, okay, we both get our way. We can balance it out. I'm not tripping off of being around people twice out the month. Cool.
Right.
You know, if that's what it is, great. And you're not tripping off being at home, being with just your family twice out the month. Awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we don't really count school days, because if it's a whole family, you know what I mean?
Right.
But not having that support definitely causes
the riff
issues.
Yeah,
you know, within the relationship, and so it makes you wonder, like, how far would people go to have that?
It's what's I used to say to myself, like, what is causing certain rift between not like me and you, but what because of trying to juggle it's kind of like you trying to impress the wrong people, you know?
I mean,
Like
sometimes it can be a number of things, though. You know why?
belly up.
It could be a number of things why the conflict comes about.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you say, you could be, oh, you're trying to impress somebody, or it could be that you've always been alone and you do enjoy having people around a lot of the time because you've always been by yourself. Or you just don't like solitude and it's hard for you to be alone.
Right.
Um, but those are things I feel like those are all things that you have to work on, like nobody can fix that for you.
Right. That's something
Right?
you gotta
Like
fix.
that's something that you have to be able to be like, okay, well, shit, like why do I always want people around?
Right. It's a
You
coping
know?
mechanism.
Right.
Like they can't be. It's funny because you said to me, you was like, "Yo, you can't drive in silence." Now I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I drive in silence. I listen to myself. I just let myself breathe. I don't always have to have something going on, and I appreciate that because I'm always around stuff that's somebody's loud,
Yeah.
something blasting, something's happening, somebody's calling action, somebody's calling cut, somebody's playing time code, somebody's doing all these things. These are my everyday life.
Yeah.
So the minute that I'm in the car or I'm driving home or I'm winding down to be in the space of where I love every moment of my space, it's quiet.
It's so calming.
Yes, it is.
It's so there has been times where I've had to go do things, an event of sorts, or
Hmm.
go get my nails done, or whatever the case may be. And I'm there and I'm just like drained because it's just like it's a lot of noise.
Oh,
It's a
at the place?
just in general, just
Hmm.
whether it be like, oh, I went to eat with my friends, or we did a all girls Christmas party at my grandma's house, or whatever the case is. I'm at the nail shop and it's like people in and out, in and out, in and out, in and
Hmm.
out, in and out. Doors is bing, 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 bing every time somebody's coming in the door. There's music playing, the TV's playing. We're watching the iPad. There's just so much stimulation. And I get home and it's just like, or I not even home. I'm in the car. And I'm like, I'm not turning on no music.
Hmm.
If it feels good outside, I'm gonna roll the windows down. I just want to feel the breeze. I just want to feel the air. I
Hmm.
don't want to hear anything. And it just is like it's calming.
You know, it's crazy that you saying that because that's what I used to do when I used to live at home.
Mm-hmm.
I used to just drive around the city,
Yeah.
and because I had in my Impala, I had like a little sunroof thing, and I used to open that up and then have all the windows down and literally drive like from one side of the city and be acting like I'm doing something. I'm not doing shit. I'm
Yeah.
just driving just to drive because it's so much stimulation going on
It's just a lot.
in the
Everybody needs
city.
a release.
So wouldn't matter. What you doing? My grandma used to call me like, "What you doing?" Oh no, I'm just
Minding my business.
going to get something to eat.
Yeah.
Or to the point where she just used to she used to just check in with me and be like, "Vaughnie, you good? I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just checking on because
Yeah.
I ain't seen you since 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
Or even if I'm getting off work because I told you I used to do like the parties in the zoo. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, my bad.
You gonna keep talking?
Oh, yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like
And I'll take like the long way home just to drive home, just to the water or just the wind to blow and get home. And she'd be like, "What took you so long?" I was like, "Oh, I took the streets."
yeah.
So it's just that woo sigh of like, man, I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Or it's
But
just
again, because of that, it's not always understood.
mm-hmm.
And the lack of support behind that causes the conflict.
Right.
So what do you do? Where do you go? How far do you go? How long do you stay? You know what I mean? Like for me, um, because I know me better than anybody knows, after God, of course. But I know that I am not a person to suppress my words
Right.
or feelings or anything of the sort. And so it's hard for me to be, I'm very graceful. Okay. And when I say that, I mean in the sense of I've given people, I've shown people grace where it was not earned.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I try to look at it from a spiritual point of view. God don't have to give us grace. We make mistakes all the time, right?
Right.
But he does. And I use that, or I try to use that in my every moment of life. It's very hard because there are a lot of moments where who I am as a person just wants to blast the hell out of somebody.
Right. Right. Right.
And I choose to go the opposite route because sometimes it is just a mistake, right? Like people make mistakes and I make mistakes. It happens. Cool. But when people do things consistently or act like they don't know what they're doing or what they're doing isn't a big deal or they feel obligated to, that shit pisses me off.
That's
And it's not having not having the support of I'ma handle it, from my husband makes me feel like, well, if you don't handle it,
what else can you handle?
not even that, but if you don't handle it or if you don't want to handle it or if you feel like it's going to be too confrontational to handle, okay, great. So I'm going to have to do it. And if I have to do it, then it's not going to be nice. I'm not going to give grace anymore. I'm not going, and I would prefer not to be that person
Right.
because I don't gain anything from that. It
Right.
doesn't benefit me in any type of way. And so therefore, I need the support of my husband when I tell you, you don't think that that was weird? Or, yo, like, you ain't see that? Like, that's, I don't move like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Right.
get down like that. And you got to check that. Like, you have to do something about that. And for years, it was just like, okay. And it was like, say little things, but cower at the same time. Say little things and then cower. Say little things and then cower and then kind of renege and then go back and forth about it. And it's like, you aren't protecting me the way I protect you.
Right.
The way I've protected you. That bothered me.
But that all comes with trying to keep peace because you don't want to say too much and then somebody's feelings get hurt and then you're like, well, damn, like I didn't want to hurt this person's feelings, but
But
this
then you
person
felt to,
right, this person acts like this, and it's like, damn, I wonder if they understand that this person's going to always act like this, or
yeah, but
that
then you,
person's going right.
and in that mentality, you fail to realize that the person you owe the most to,
You're hurting.
you're hurting.
Yes.
You're not thinking, okay, it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm sparing these people's feelings. Fuck them. Because at the end of the day, the person whose feelings that you're hurting might get up and walk away one day because you don't care about how they feel.
Right.
You're so concerned with everybody else and how they feel and what could transpire if I say this, as opposed to what can transpire in my actual life, the actual part of life that matters the most, the actual part of life that I made vows and promises to. That could be hurt and more damaged than the fact that you just didn't like what I said.
The crazy thing is, I think people give more grace to people that they know for a fact doesn't care for them in a certain way. Like people be like, "Oh,
I think people do that though because people want people to like them.
right." So it's like, well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, oh, like I know this person doesn't care for me, but if I keep giving them grace or I keep being on their side, maybe they will like me. And it's like if you have to force somebody to like you and to force somebody to be there for you, they're not for you.
Yeah.
Because when you have somebody that's in your corner, no matter what, you don't have to be even in their vicinity or in their presence or even be on their mind for them to always have your back.
Right.
You know, and it's that's a great relationship or friendship that you have when you have those people.
Mm-hmm.
And those people are going to be the only people that do those are the people that you're having those conversations with and don't have to have those conversations with
Right.
because they just already know.
Because they understand.
Yeah, that's my guy. And don't disrespect my guy because I'll fuck you up. I don't care if you, my cousin, my brother, my sister, my cousin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my woman. I don't, you know what I mean? She always got my back. It doesn't matter what the situation is. She'll go back with her dad because at the end of the day, I'm her dude and she know that we're going to take on the world together. Why can't you have that same respect as being a partner?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the biggest drawback for people that won't understand and don't even try to understand that this is what it is,
Yeah.
you know?
I think too, a lot of the misunderstanding comes from them not having someone also,
Right. Right.
you know.
But
Uh
nine times out of 10 it's their fault,
well, I mean, yeah,
you know, because it's like because there's a such thing as pushing the envelope on people the wrong way.
right.
You know, and you think that you because of who you are as a person or how you move, you get rid of people in your life
Yeah.
or they just fucking leave.
You know what's crazy? Kiki Palmer, you said getting rid of people in your life. She was saying how she used to there was a point in her life where she just used to drop people.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she said it'd be quick too. Like, you did this, drop, you did that, cool, done. She said, and it got to a point where she was like, damn, I don't have no friends. She said, and she had to kind of step back and say, well, not necessarily what's wrong with me, but like I gotta give people a chance. Like, I can't be so quick to just cut people off. And I'm like,
She ain't got the time.
you can't be so quick to cut people off. I do believe that. But I also believe that if you are cutting someone off, it didn't come from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come from um it didn't come from them or you not wanting to have friends or them not being good enough to be a friend. Sometimes people do shit and you just got to cut them off.
Right.
And then sometimes people do stuff and maybe you acted too quickly. And then there's times where you are actually the problem. And you're cutting people off as if they've done something to you and
Mm-hmm.
really in all actuality they didn't do anything
You
but
just
try
took.
to help you better you. And
Mm-hmm.
because you are selfish and you don't try to understand, you don't have a level head, you just do whatever the fuck you want to, when you want to, how you want to, and you expect everybody to follow suit,
Right.
you cut them off
Right.
and you think that that shit's okay. And it very well maybe could in your head, but when you are lonely out in the world looking for something to do, remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember what you do, remember what you've done, and don't act like you've always been right in every situation.
Right.
Because there's plenty, like, I've cut people off, and sometimes I'll be like, dang, did I cut her off too? No. Nope. Because I know what the situation was, and it should have never got there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, people are just something
Right.
else. So, um, yeah, I just think that having that support from your partner, from your significant other, is just so
Important.
so important.
Important.
It's so it's important because as a woman, you feel protected.
Right.
You feel safe. You feel um like you're able to be vulnerable with this person, as vulnerable as you can with that person. And then like I said, I would assume that as a man, you probably feel extremely respected. Like, yo, I don't have to worry about nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my wife step for me
Right.
hard, like all the time. Like, that's just what it is. That's what it's been. That's what it will be. I don't never have to question
Mm-hmm.
if she supports what I'm doing, what I'm saying, yada
How
yada
I'm saying
yada.
it.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying. But then also too, in that you're not moving in a way that she would never not support,
Right.
or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, you're not out here just being an asshole to people, and then like, yeah, my wife gonna tell me I did good. No, like, she probably won't.
Right.
She probably tell you the complete opposite. But you know that. And because you know that she supports you in the way that she does, and vice versa, y'all move in a way that's honorable.
Right. It's crazy because it's crazy going to be the crazy word of the day. It's crazy. I've used it a lot today.
I'm like, what?
By you saying that, I recently just had somebody tell me that.
Tell you what?
That the person, I guess I'll just say, Brittany's dad, when we was talking, and he pointed to his wife and was like, "That's my last and that's my everything."
Yeah.
And she may call me a nerd, but at the end of the day, that's my best friend.
Yeah.
And everything starts and ends with her.
Absolutely.
And I was like,
absolutely.
Shit, look at this.
Yeah. I mean, you see it. You see it in their kids. You see it in them. You see it in the family dynamic that they have.
You said somebody thought you what?
You see it,
Yeah.
and so it makes sense.
Right.
And I wish there were more people that had examples of that in life.
That was a rare.
I know.
Having those, that's seeing it, because everybody's relationship and everybody's marriage isn't perfect.
Right.
But
Right.
to see a positive role model from that is key and scarce.
Yeah.
Because you have people to be like, "Oh yeah, I was married." Was is the key word.
Yep.
Or I was married for 32 years.
It's like you were, but you were also
Was,
miserable,
but
so
you
you
were-
can never tell me or teach me
Right.
or give me advice. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Some people may be like, well, they can tell you what not to do. Not really.
Because you stayed in the
Because
situation.
not even. It's not even about whether you stayed in a situation too long. My thing is that you exited the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, they be like, well, I tried. And I feel like sometimes people's versions of I tried aren't exactly real versions of I tried.
Right.
You tried what you thought fit you, but did you try what fit the other person?
Right.
That goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that every situation is like that, because there are some where, yeah, you should exit 100%. Totally believe that, like, period. But then I think too, majority of situations shouldn't be exited so quickly. And The problem is that there's no understanding, there's no support between the two.
Right.
And that's where it brings you, like, because people just allow things to happen, not thinking about the other person,
Right.
as if they're not human, as if they don't have feelings, as if things don't bother them or experiences don't move them in a certain type of way. People just do whatever they feel or whatever they think or whatever it seems right for them, and they don't consider the other person in the matter.
Right.
Because this is who I am. Yeah, that's who you are, but what about who we are? As a unit, who are we? Does this define you or does this define us? Is there an I in team, or you know what I mean? Like, what is it?
Right.
Are you constantly I, me, and or is it we and our and us and together? Those words matter. You know what I mean? Those words matter. Your actions of unity matter. I don't know. It just is, people just don't. And I guess if you haven't ever had anything successful in that way, and when anything meaning a relationship in that way, you probably wouldn't understand.
Right.
But also to trying to negate what two people do understand and what two people know to be true and work for them because you don't, I think that's weirdo shit. And Pastor Drew says, don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
So that's how I feel about it. I think it is the most important, one of the most. People are like, oh yeah, communication is most important. Absolutely, communication. But behind the communication, I need support.
Right.
I need you to support me. I need you to understand what it is that I'm asking you to support, why I'm asking you to support it. And then I also need you to understand me as a person, how I feel, what I believe in, what I stand for. I mean, all of that shit should be first anyway, but
right.
When it's not, or if it's not, then those are things that also have to be worked out. And then the people that are on the outside looking in, fuck them. And I mean that as respectfully as possible. I don't actually mean fuck you. I just mean your opinions don't matter.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I don't lay next to you. I did not give birth to children by you. I did not take vows before God with you. So how you feel, what you think you see, or what you claim to think that you know, you actually don't know shit. You don't see shit either. You see what you want to see, and you hope that it's what you know.
Right, right.
And you fill your own head with a bunch of bullshit that you really can't come back from, because once you open your mouth and you start yapping, you fucked yourself. That's how I feel. So,
shoot.
It's all about you and your significant other. However you see significant other, whether it's longtime girlfriend, boyfriend, or you see a future with this person, if you're really serious about this person, but maybe you can't afford a proposal or a wedding right now. Or if you are completely and 100% married. It's the dedication and the commitment to one another for me that matters more than the ring and the title and all of the things. Because,
man, I'm gonna say this: actions speak louder than words.
Period.
Because I can tell you that I love you, and then I can propose to you, and then give you a ring, but turn around doing all the opposite things.
Right.
So actions speak louder than words.
Period.
And we can end it like that.
Y'all just listen to
Talk That Shit
with the Melvin.
We out this thing.
Bye.
Peace out.